Welcome to Profit and Loss Statement Basics. I'm your host, Ruth King. First of all, thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it and that you want to learn more about P&Ls. These are the basics. Obviously, you want a company that's growing profitably because without profits, you're not going to be in business very long. Think about it this way. A P&L just is this. Profit, revenues were greater than expenses and you had a profit, or you had a loss, which means expenses were greater than revenue. That's it. That's all a P&L is. You either had revenues higher than expenses or expenses higher than revenues as a loss, all right? It is the amount of profit or loss you had for a specific period of time. It does not tell you how much cash you have in the bank. And your P&L starts over every month. How many of us have had these, oh my gosh, this month was terrible from a financial perspective? Great, the month's over. You get to start all over again the next month. You know, January 31st, January is over, thank goodness. Or we had a terrible year, 2024 or 2023 is over, thank goodness. We have a better shot at 2024, all right? P&Ls start over every month, every year. Okay? A P&L is basically revenue or sales minus your cost of goods sold or direct cost. That equals your gross profit, subtract out your overhead. That gives you your net operating profit. You would subtract your other income, or you subtract your other expenses and add your other income to give you your net profit before taxes, all right? So the statement itself is revenue or sales, cost of goods sold, and these are all the components. These are the 6 components. Revenue, cost of goods sold, gross profit and gross margin, overhead, net operating profit, and net profit, okay? So revenue and sales are really different, all right? Revenue is the work you generated and billed for in the accounting period. Sales is the work that you sold and not necessarily billed in the accounting period. Think about it. You could sell $1 million project, but you're not going to do it all in that 1 month unless you have lots and lots and lots of people. So the sale is the $1 million. The revenue is the amount of work that you actually billed for on that $1 million sale in a particular month. Okay. So the question is, what is revenue? How does your company generate revenue? So what products or service does your company produce? This is how you define revenue. If you just do revenue or you just do income, per QuickBooks, how do you know how much you generated for all the different types of products and services that you do? You need to break it down somewhat so that you get an idea of the different types of revenue, that maybe the different products you sell. The question often comes up, should I departmentalize? Well, the answer is yes. If you have different trades, i.e. like you do plumbing, HVAC, electrical, whatever else like that, or different product categories and you sell different types of products. But you'd have to departmentalize the revenue, the direct costs, and the overhead. So if you just have one big thing that you're doing or you're just providing one major thing, you don't have to departmentalize. All right, so that's the revenue side. The next is cost of goods sold or direct cost. And this is an expense because you generated revenues, okay? So this is billable labor, union dues, materials and equipment, commissions, freight, subcontractors, permits, travel to a job site out of town. Anything that you have that's an expense because you generated revenue. That's a cost of goods sold, okay? So not cost of goods sold generally is unbilled labor, i.e. labor that you have like vacation or holiday or meeting or training or something like that. Any materials you purchase for inventory or stock, that goes into inventory on your balance sheet. It doesn't go into cost of goods sold. And a salesperson's salary also doesn't go in here. These things might be cost of goods sold, payroll taxes as they apply to billable labor, and truck expenses. Whatever you decide is fine, all right? But just make sure that you're consistent. If you're putting payroll taxes and cost of goods sold, then always put payroll taxes for your, direct cost labor in cost of goods sold. Don't do it 1 month and not the next because it will screw up your financial statements. Next, we have overhead, which is an expense you incur because you need to keep your doors open, all right? So what I consider 2 major ones, payroll-related overhead, which are compensation expenses, and non-payroll related overhead, which are what I call G&A expenses or general and administrative expenses. Compensation expenses are all non-billable time, all office personnel time, all owner's time that's not billable to a job, all benefits, workers' comp, insurance, and all the other fun things. G&A, general administrative or advertising and marketing, bank charges, professional fees, rent, vehicle expenses, everything that's listed on the bottom part of your P&L. Okay. Other income is cash that's generated outside of your operational activities. It could be interest, it could be gain on sale of an asset. Other expenses are cash paid outside of operational activities, which are one-time legal fees, loss on the sale of an asset, okay? Those are the parts of a P&L. So it's revenue or sales, preferably revenue, minus cost of goods sold is equal to gross profit, subtract out overhead, equals net operating profit, and then you subtract out the other income to give you your net profit before taxes. The thing that you really want to pay attention to is up to net operating profit. The other is not operational, but it does affect the bottom line and what you pay for taxes, okay? So if you're going to do a financial review, this is what it looks like. This is a P&L. On monthly, on the top, it looks like a sine wave or an EKG or whatever. And the bottom really shows you what this company is doing. It's on a trailing basis, which is a year's worth of data a month at a time. And you'll see how the top line, revenue's increasing, the red line, gross profit's increasing, the overhead green line is staying about the same, and our net profit purple line is coming up too. So this is another way of looking at it. This company is a little bit different. It's what I call in stasis, or it's starting to go the wrong way because our gross profit line is underneath our overhead line and we're losing money on a trailing basis, and you have to turn this type of thing around quickly. Okay? So some options for you. You can have a free financial statement review. We'd be happy to do it, and just an overview. Send an email to Chris Beckham, who is our financial analyst, cbeckham@financiallyfit.business, or you can subscribe to learn more about all of this to www.financiallyfit.business. Okay? If you have questions, give us a call, 770-729-8000, or send me an email, rking@financiallyfit.business. Thanks for watching. Have a great and profitable day.